Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we're going to be carrying on our series. And what we did in the last episode is that we have started to create our landscape, and today what we're going to be doing here is that adding some trees and some foliage so you can play with this scenario. So what I'm going to be doing here is the first our light. I want to make sure we reduce this light to 2, maybe 3. And I just want to change the color to be like a more like a dark light, like a afternoon light. And I also want to make sure that we make it so something like this. Maybe that's too much. Yep, so we have like some effect here with the light, which is really good. And now what I'm going to be doing here is that I'm going to be adding some foliage in the game. So to do this, if you guys search here for grass, you should be able to see let me just zoom on this. So you should be able to see this foliage. So if I browse to asset, that's where we have all this the grass and all this stuff, and they are all inside mesh. And then they have foliage. So we have crops, we have buildings, and we have the foliage. So we're gonna go back to the landscape, actually foliage mode, and I'm gonna open up the foliage and I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna add this, I'm gonna add this one, and I'm gonna add that one here, right? And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna set my zoom to like this. I'm gonna go to landscape mode again, and I just wanna remove some parts because I'm thinking that my game's starting to get too big and I don't wanna have a huge landscape. I just wanna have something I can control, I can walk around. Now I'm gonna add the foliage. So with the foliage you can select all of them, and I'm gonna increase the size of the brush here to some different size, and I think we can set the density. Make sure you set this to as low as you can, otherwise it will add like a bunch of foliage. So let me see how does that look. So you see, like we have all those foliages and all that stuff. It's fine, you can add as much as you want. So what I'm gonna do here is that I'm just gonna do something like this. I'm gonna add footages right there, here, 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 and I'm gonna manually put all this stuff in the game. Hopefully it won't have a huge performance impact, all these foliages, even because there's some patches and stuff that you can't see anyway. And then what I'm gonna do here is I am gonna create let me see if there is a water plane that we can use water. Do we have a water plane? We have, I think we have the material. So I think what we could do is that, let me play with this landscape a little bit. Let me scope. Let's add some hues and stuff, and just do some stuff like adding some not necessary heights to the map. Oh, that's too much. Let me just go back to where we have the selection. Let's go back to where is the player start, and I'm just gonna make him go a little bit up. So now we have hues, which is good. As you can see, we have hues, and we have a very, maybe that's too much, so I think that will be fine for now. And now the next thing that I'm gonna do here is that you can create this scenario the way you like. It doesn't matter. I just want to do one more thing on my blueprint, on the characters, on the player. I just want to make sure that the camera is too close from the player. So I'm just gonna put this to 3000. Let's see how bad does this look. Cool. So you have some more views, like you have some more, you can see it better where the player is trying to go. You can see our moments a little bit weird because it doesn't have IE key, so I think what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna just flat out this plane. I'm gonna just flat everything up. And maybe we leave some hills here and there. Nothing too much. It's just because our player, doesn't have like a. Nope. Where is that player start? Put it here. And there you go. Okay, cool. So we have the player. Of course, then we need to add now the mesh. So if you guys remember, we have added this the nav mesh. So I'm going to increase the size to, let's see, 40,000 by, no, that's too much. That is way too much. 40,000 by 40,000 by, let's see, maybe 5,000, the z-axis. Now we can press play. Now we have the player walking with the mesh. Then I can, place a house, come in here. I can't do anything because I need a, it requires that, but definitely it works, which is good. Now let's add some resources, right? So normally in a game like this, you probably would generate the resources using some kind of point in place. Like you find a point and then from that point you just start to generate trees around the player. But on our game here, I'm just gonna drag and drop some items in here. And then after, you guys can decide how would you like to generate this. But for now, I'm gonna find the actions. I'm gonna get some of the resources. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna start to bring some stuff here. I'm gonna place things all over the place, right? Bring it here, bring it there, bring it here. That. Now actually, let me see if this is gonna work fine. That could work. So I think what we could do, if you're gonna generate it, I'm gonna see if I can actually generate some kind of like something that could generate this for us. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna load my test level again, right? Which I guess is inside the top-down maps. I'm just gonna load that test level again. And of course I'm gonna delete all the stuff that we have here. All those items, we don't need these anymore. Let's just delete all this stuff. Let's make sure we have a clean thing. Okay, now what I want to do here is that I want to generate trees around the player, and I want to have like an area where I can generate some trees and stuff, right? So to generate this kind of stuff, what we could do here is that we go to blueprints, and we're gonna create a new type of thing, resource generation. And then inside this resource generation, we're gonna create here an actor called BP resource generation, or we could just call BP generation. Right, cool. BP, let me just put that dash here, otherwise it looks a bit weird. Cool. Oh, mistyped that. Cool. Generation. Now let's open up the generation here. And what I want to do here is I want to basically, from this actor, I want to find valid points around him to generate trees and all sorts of stuff, right? So what we could do here is that we can create the resources amount. So resource amount, right? So this is gonna be an integer, and this is gonna basically be used to how many resources would you like to generate. In this case, I would like to generate 10. And what we could do now on the graph is that we could create a for loop here, and the first index is 1, the last index is the amount of this, Now what we can do here is that we can call a node called get, I think it's called get random, get nav mesh or random. Yes, it's this one here. It's called get random reachable point in radius. Right. So basically this is going to say where would you like this to be started and how much is your radius. The radius, I think we should be probably set this to so the radius definitely needs to be a variable, but I would like to set this in a range of, I don't know, maybe 1,000. Or let's put something small. Yeah, let's put 1,000. 1,000 is quite small. It's a huge number, but in real engine terms, it's quite small. The origin is going to be self, and we're going to basically get actor location, and we're going to plug this one here. The nav mesh doesn't matter. The filter class also doesn't matter. And now what we're going to do here is that we're going to spawn. Draw a debug sphere, and the debug sphere is going to be the location, the radius. It's going to be how big is that? I'm going to put like 10, and I'm going to compile and save. I'm going to bring this generation right here in the middle, and let's see what's going to happen. So all those places we would generated a tree, right? So what I would like to do here is that what we can do here now is that we can spawn actor from class. Now it's gonna ask what class would you like to spawn. So the class that I would like to spawn here is gonna be the I'm just gonna call class, and I am gonna basically call which one we are looking for. Actually, the class, let's create it as an array. Let's make this a little bit better, right? Let's make this an array. Let's get random or random. Let me compile this. Random array item. Let's get a random array item. Put it in here. The transform is going to be this. And what we need to do is that we just need to populate what actors would you like to load, right? So right now what we could do here is that we could load for now the resources. So we're gonna load this, we're gonna load that, and we're gonna load another one, which is the 3. In an ideal scenario, guys, you probably would like to have one just for tree, one just for days, one just for that, just so it doesn't, you know, spawn everything together. Right, so kinda it's working, but now let's make it a little bit better. I prefer to have let me just go back in here. Let me just remove this and delete this. Compile and save. Let's go back to the generation where we do this, and I'm gonna create a child, and I'm gonna call BP generation 3. I'm gonna create one for just berry, and I'm gonna create another one here which is gonna be for stone, right? Now we can compile and save this guy. Cool. Let's open up the berry, this and that. Now what we're gonna do is that we need to set up what class would you like to spawn. So right now the tree needs to be, of course, set to tree. Stone, of course, must set up the stone, and the berry should set up the berry, which I call berry but it's bush, but anyway, doesn't matter. Cool. Now we can compile and save, and that's it. Right, so now let's set up the simple rules. So trees normally grow in a very big area, so what we could do here is that we could have maybe 25 trees on 10,000 range, with a quite big range. Stones could be something similar. Let's put 20, and we could have on 20, let's put 15,000 range. Now berries, they're quite different. They grow in a tiny space. So this one could be set to maybe even 5 so it doesn't overload everything. And now let's see what is gonna happen. Of course, so we need to make sure that this one, I don't think that would break the game, but we're gonna go to the resource generator. So we're gonna put the berry, we're gonna put a stone, and we're gonna put a tree. And now if I press play, that generates for us quite a lot of resources, to be honest. As you can see, you have all this stuff around it here. So I think what we need to do is to reduce a little bit the like you just need to play with the values, right? So let's go back to our landscape. Let's see what's gonna happen, right? So let's go back near the player. So the player is in a bad size. Let me just put him up a little bit. Cool, player's in a bad size. Now we're gonna go back to our blueprints, or no, not that. Here, blueprints, resources. So we're gonna get the berry, we're gonna get the stone, and we're gonna get the trees. Then if I press play, okay, we got quite, you see some berries here. I would like the berries to be a little bit together, so I would put a range of like 200, okay, because I want them to be quite close. This is too close. Let's put like maybe 500. And there you go. You see, like you would have a berry here. You say they require this item, blah, 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 blah. And this one as well. But as you can see, we have trees. Let's increase a little bit the density of the trees as well. Let's put maybe 120. Hopefully that won't be too much. That it's, let me just check. That looks good, but there's actually one problem now. We're kind of having some performance issues, so let me just disable one thing here that could improve the performance. So on the base interaction actor, let's search for a tick event, make sure that's false. That should help improve a little bit the performance for that. So got this here, got the one here. And you know, like now I think it's just the fact that you guys have to play with the values, to be honest. But I think 120 trees is too much. So let's just put this back to, let's just put this back to 40. And the stone as well, let's put this to 30. And the berries, we're gonna just copy this, paste it in a couple of different places. So you know, the player has to find the resources. So we got berry, trees, and stones, and all sorts of stuff. Right, so the next thing I want to do here is for the berries, I just want to increase my actor, this capsule here, the actor collision. I'm going to put this to a little bit bigger, just so I can interact with them easily. So it requires that, which is really good. Now what we would like to do is that, okay, now we need to find an item and stuff like this. So what I'm gonna do here is we could also spawn the items around the player. So for now we could come back to character, where is the building items, tools. So I'm just gonna put the axe, I'm gonna put the basket. And you know, like now you guys could set up your own rules. You could say, okay, I wanna find those items, or I wanna build those items, I wanna craft those items, so you can create your own rules now. So I'm just gonna do it right here. I'm gonna press play. And you see it's gonna say, okay, there's an item here, so let's collect that. So if I come back in here, why is that collecting that? So we go to pickaxe, got that. That's collecting is problematic. Oh. Nice. So I have the axe. And now I can do... Oh, I need basket. Okay. Now I can start to collect this stuff. Let me just put my game here so it doesn't cut the... I can do this. And I can come in here, chop down the tree. See? And now I can build my farm. House. Let's do this. Put the house. And you can build your house. Look at that. This is so cool. And also our resource respawn is kind of working. Look at that. So we can come in here and chop the trees. So that would disappear in a second. And I think it's set up to 10 seconds right now. Coming here, picking up, and you see that the resource is respawning back, which is really cool. One thing I would like to do here though is that this is more up to you guys what you can actually do here, but it's more like you could have option to spawn a tree here as well, and then this tree that you spawn has that timer on, and those here they have the timer off. So in this way you end up not having to have all those issues with the trees. But right now, one missing thing that we gotta do is I'm gonna go back to the blueprint, characters, sorry, component, info. I wanna make sure that my debug is set to false, which it is. So on the BP base actor, I'm gonna also set that to false. Compile and save, just because I don't want to see collisions and stuff. I just want to see the items, you see. It's better to... There is an issue with a collision there, but I think it's when you get around the two items. But nice. So you come in here, you get this, so I get all the items, and I'm collecting. Look at that. Cool. Yeah guys, so I think what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna pause this video right now, and then in the next one we just gonna create, this is gonna be the final part, the next one, where I'm just gonna create a main menu so you can press play, and in here you can press, for example, P to pause and then go back to the first menu. And that's all we're gonna do for this series. Once again, thank you very much for watching. If you guys are enjoying, if you feel that you learned anything with this, please let me know. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.